Okay, guys, we are live. Today is a beautiful sunny day here in London. Finally, our MP is locked the fuck down, everyone. So they should be in their houses. Today, I'm really, really pleased. I've got a superstar lineup of good friends of mine. Paul is in the house, Tom Wang, Casey Gauss, Ivelin Demirov, and Anthony Lee. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
How are we all doing?
Really good.
Excellent.
You want us to answer all at once? Because I feel like that's not a good strategy.
What's that, story?
So you want us to answer all at once?
Yes, no. I want you to answer one at a time. Right, I'm just going to maneuver to some of the groups here as we've just gone live. So starting with Paul, for those who have been living under the rock, can you explain who you are and what you do?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm one of the co-founders of Select Chatbots, where we offer a ranking service and coached lots of people. And yeah, happy to be here. And yeah, Tom, over to you because you're next to my screen.
Tom?
Oh, me?
Yeah, over to you next, my friend.
Yeah, my name is Tom. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. 7-figure Amazon seller. We have our private label businesses running right now. On the side, I also dedicate a lot of my time coaching other entrepreneurs to start their own Amazon FBA businesses. Have coached well over 800 people here locally in Vancouver. Basically, it's all I do like weekend classroom style, which obviously being impacted by the COVID-19 virus. So moving everything online, but yeah, happy to be here as well.
Excellent. Cool. Right. So in the box here, we've got hi, all looking good from Lawrence Barnes. Is Paul Harvey getting more handsome every day? Stephen Bingham. Roger Percy says hello. And there we go. Right. So first things first, let's get straight into it. Paul, due to the current climate, give me an example of one way that people could rank and take the advantage of the current climate at the moment on Amazon.
So I think that the answer to that first comes down to is what's their product, what's their niche, because there are two different issues right now, and that's even in Select Chatbot, we have our own ranking service. The people that are selling non-essential goods, we actually advertise and actually do the rebates for them, and we've seen Facebook ads go through the roof simply because those rebate customers, even though they get stuff for free, they can't wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks according to the Amazon delivery time zone. So Facebook ads are increasing there. But if you're right now selling supplements, like although I hate advertising for supplements because they were a hard grind, now's the right time. So anyone right now, look at those two things. If you're in a non-essential list, a non-essential product, like just start right now warming up your list, get ready to make them hot, because as soon as the borders open and you can ship, that's when you dial that list and just make them just pay for you. And yeah, so yeah, pretty much that. So warm your list up if you're not in essential goods.
Excellent. Guys out there, do you want to start leaving comments, some questions you may have? I'm going to carry on going around, but I'll get to a point where I'll start get the questions answered for you. Tom, over to you.
Yeah, I think I'm happy to chat anything with regards to ranking, as if everything is normal, I guess. But as of current state, we've actually stopped all of our ranking process just because of literally yesterday, we noticed that a lot of our products have been moved from, like the ship date has been moved a month later. So if you buy something on our listing right now, fulfilled by Amazon, you're going to get that product April 30th. So even if we do any sort of ranking, we just can't see the conversion rate being any good. So for any listeners out there who are listening to this, what we did right away, yesterday, what we did was we switched everything to FBN listings. We lost the Amazon Prime badge, but having said that, our listing is the only one in our competition that is currently being shown as shipped 3 to 5 days. That has actually given us, we'll have to see and kind of test, I guess, but it's given us a little bit of a competitive advantage. Right after we switched everything over at 2 p.m. yesterday, our orders started coming in quite a bit. So in terms of ranking, like I said, we're actually not doing any ranking right now. But I'm happy to discuss ranking as if everything's normal, I guess, right now. So.
Cool. Casey, your observations, please.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think the question is, do you have the right product at the right time right now? The two issues are having inventory, and then number two, is your product still selling well right now? And for some non-essential products, that's not the case. For some people in certain categories, you may be killing it right now because either your competitors don't have the inventory or you just have the right product at the right time. So I think the real question before asking asking how we rank is, should we rank? Do we have the right product right now? And I will say, if you are someone that has maybe struggled to be a top player in your category, but you have a lot of the inventory and you're willing to sell through FBM, now's a really great time for you to go and drive keyword ranking, because nobody else is. Nobody else is running, or it seems very unlikely that your competitors are running these promotions to drive keyword ranking. So it's a great opportunity for you to leap ahead of them if you have the inventory. And if you have the means of fulfilling it. So now is a great opportunity if you're willing to kind of play your cards right. And I think it's very important. Go look at brand analytics, go see what is selling right now, what people are searching for right now. Whenever there's change, I think there is significant opportunity, and I doubt things will go back exactly the way that they were. And so understanding kind of the new paradigm of now and how things will be is going to really allow some people to leap ahead of the competition.
Yep, sounds good. Ivelin, what's been your observations over the last couple of weeks?
So in Canada, haven't changed much. Things are pretty much the same. Still get deliveries. People have inventory still working. Right now, we're just waiting to see what will happen next. So nothing much we can do. We've done an experiment yesterday. And the ranking behaves as usually. So nothing changed there. Yeah. But things will gonna change in the next weeks for sure.
Well, I was going to ask, because you're always tapping and underneath in the code. Are you and your team? I was just wondering if Amazon's made a shift in the algorithm for more essential products, or any shift that you'd noticed. But you're saying everything's pretty much the same as it stands.
Yes.
Cool, Anthony. What's your take on things?
So, I wish that I had a sneaky ranking factor for right now, but I can at least explain what I understand is happening. Two things, unless my information is incorrect, that I have come to understand about the algorithm that may impact the way things are able to rank. One, for lack of a better word, there's this template that market managers use to submit that essentially organizes ASINs in such a way that it distributes where products are placed under hot new releases. I think there's a badge in there somewhere, and then most gifted items. Anyway, the fact that exists tells me there's probably a lot more like them. What that means is that this is a small piece of probably many pieces that affect the overall algorithm in its decisions on how to organize ASINs. So with that said, should Amazon have decided to, and I can't confirm whether or not they've definitely done this, it's just the fact that now I kind of feel like I know that they can and how they can. But if Amazon decided to be proactive with their reprioritization of essential goods, they could easily submit templates like this that will essentially inform the algorithm on how to organize ASINs. Now, I have clients that have lost rank, and they sell what would be considered non-essential goods. So that might be what's happening. But even if that's not what's happening, we know that the algorithm does weight rank based on availability. And because of the new shipping priorities and the fact that non-essential goods are being pushed out 3+ weeks in shipment, then by default, that is going to therefore affect ASIN's capabilities of ranking. So one way or another, at this moment in time, things are not normal on the .com platform. So ranking efforts might be strenuous at best. And that is what we've observed anyway is happening.
Okay, so basically what we're saying is, in a nutshell, everyone's on a lean back at the moment because of the delay time, right? So let's take the delay time off the table in terms of delivery. Let's just say we had normal Prime, yeah, and the sense that people were getting deliveries in 2-3 days or a smaller period, depends on where you are in the world. What would be a strategy you would be using at the moment to take advantage of, like you've got this mentality of scarcity? Like when we go into a downturn, a lot of people retreat, but others go on like they go on the defense rather than the offense. If if you had a war chest and you were going on the offense, and let's just say Prime was delivering on a regular basis across all products, what would you be doing now, Anthony?
So I guess it really depends on what your goals are. A lot of people use Amazon as a platform, rightfully so, to create cash flow, in which case then sourcing essential goods as quickly as possible and then basically flipping those would be the best way to capitalize on the current fear. However, my approach would probably be more leaning even harder into branding. And the reason is because I feel like right now everybody's on emotional high alert. So if you can make an impact with somebody while they're in an emotional state, then you'll make a more lasting impact and probably win over more long-term customers that way.
Makes sense. Tom, your take?
Sorry, do you mind repeating the question one more time?
Yes. So if
everything's normal,
if hypothetically we're still in what we're in at the moment, but imagine Prime terms back to normal, you've got a war chest and there's people in defense mode and you're going on an offense, what would you be doing?
Yeah. I think kind of echoing what Casey said with regards to any sort of times like this, it presents a lot of opportunities. So if I had a war chest, meaning basically cash, and the strategy is to rank right now, I would definitely be ranking for more keywords. Now, having said that, the first thing I want to say is I talk to Anthony, Lee, and Casey a lot behind the scenes, and I get a lot of my information from these two. So I'm not gonna pretend to be like, oh yeah, I created this. What's really interesting about my situation is that I have 800 students, and so I get a lot of data points. So whenever I receive some sort of information, I test it on my store first, and if I see any sort of positive impact or negative impact, I actually pass it on to my students, and then they further validate the thesis. So that's kind of cool. So what I've been seeing working really well in the ranking game is essentially two different ways to rank. The first way to rank right now is essentially something I like to call like a Blitz strategy. So that's like in 2 weeks, you just want to get as many sales as possible through different types of super URLs. And that's really important. That's something I learned from Casey, is just switching through the different super URLs. And that has worked really, really well, targeting 2 to 3 keywords. The downside to that strategy is that, unfortunately, every single day, you do need to be giving away a lot of units, which if you're a beginner, it's a lot of cash flow, right? These rebates can really cost you a lot of money, and that adds up. But the other way that I found is more of a steady and long-term approach, where instead of 2 weeks, what you want to do is you want to do more of a steady approach over 30 to 45 days. And then you still want to rotate through the super URLs, pick a few keywords that you want to rank for. I say somewhere between like 1,000 to 5,000 searches per month. So something that's a little bit lower. But then what we found is that by targeting these keywords over 30 to 45 days, you don't need to be giving that many units a day away. So you can get away with giving away 3 to 5 units per keyword per day. So if you go after 3 keywords, then that's really just like 15 units a day, which is pretty manageable versus like 50 or 60. And that we've seen a really, really good results with regards to not only driving up ranking for those keywords, but also lifting up a lot of other keywords as well. And I think it's just because of basically Amazon sees a lot of consistency with regards to your conversion rate, with regards to your daily sales, and Amazon wants to reward you for a bunch of other keywords. So the short answer is, if you're planning to do some sort of giveaway right now, if you have the war chest, I would probably lean towards the 2-week strategy, just because we don't know how long this virus is going to last for. If you go the 30 to 45 days, maybe by the end of the 45 day, like all this will be, gone already. But if you just blitz it for 2 weeks, you can probably get, you're ranking quite high in the search results, therefore generating sales for your products.
So for example, there, you may hedge your bets. You might see where you're partway through and you might see the numbers, for a better word for it. With everything going on with the virus, we've got these data boards and stuff where we're seeing the death toll and we're seeing the recovery rates and stuff. Right. People using some of that data and taking a risk and, okay, we're going to do the 45-day protocol. It looks like things are improving, so confidence improves, spending goes up, etc., and then hopefully you're ranking towards the top, is what you're saying.
Yeah, tracking data points in terms of the actual virus itself, I think that's very smart. I've been doing that so I live in Vancouver for our province for a little while, and just seeing the numbers go up and increase and predicting where it's going to be next week. And right now the curve still hasn't flattened. It's still going like this. So things are not going to get any better anytime soon.
Exactly. It'll get better before it gets worse. Casey, what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, when I look at opportunity, I believe that there's opportunity on the Amazon platform. Even currently, I think spending a good amount of time looking at what is selling and what isn't selling, maybe through Brain Analytics or looking through the Amazon bestsellers list are great ways of identifying what's selling well. But yeah, it's very difficult to understand how long this is going to last. Looking at opportunity, I've never been one of the people that's been a huge advocate of selling off Amazon, because I've seen a lot of people struggle doing that. But right now, one word that comes to mind when I think of opportunity is diversification. So I think looking at diversifying your supply chain is something that would be considered both defensive and offensive. As we've seen a number of issues with sourcing from China recently, I think a lot of people are starting to wake up and looking at finding suppliers in other channels like Mexico or Taiwan or Vietnam or India or Pakistan. A friend of mine, Nathan Raznick, who at Sourcify is a huge advocate of this. I think diversifying channel. So right now, because of delayed shipping times, we're seeing some significant sales increases in Walmart and eBay. So I've never been a huge advocate of, again, diversifying from the Amazon space because there's so much opportunity still on Amazon. But I think that some of these changes are going to be lasting. So as people start to become more familiar with shopping on Walmart, eBay, or some of these other channels, I think some of that there will be some residue of that in the future. And so I think looking at diversifying to these other channels, especially if you're a player that's seeing your sales in your market decline on Amazon, now is the time, if you look at opportunity costs, to start looking at some of these other channels. And then thirdly, from a diversification standpoint, diversifying your ability to fulfill. So going and finding a 3PL, my favorite is Deliver with 2 R's, and being able to go and diversify your ability to fulfill. These are all things that are going to set you up not only to take advantage of this kind of short-term opportunity, but is also laying a lot of kind of groundwork for these long-term opportunities. Once your brand matures and you want to go and fulfill in these other channels, now you have the supply chain to back you up. Now you have the ability to fulfill, and you've spent time building out your listings or whatever on these other channels. And so you're taking advantage both of the short term and the long term.
Cool. Ivelin, you got a war chest. Prime goes back to 2 or 3 days delivery. What would you do in that situation in terms of ranking?
So as I said, to me, things didn't change much.
Yeah.
The only thing that changed is that certain products got pushed to the top of the category. Mm-hmm. People start focusing on these emergency supply products and stuff. So a lot of the products on the main categories in these keywords now occupy on the top of the space, but the rest of it is not much affected. Pretty much it's all the same. And I think algorithm doesn't change that fast. Like we know that if Amazon tries to change a little bit something on the algorithm, it can end up losing billions of dollars a year, right? So they don't quickly change something in the algorithm in a response in the current situation, right? It's very difficult for them to decide what they can do in the situation. So to me, the essence of the algorithm, it's still the same. Everything works exactly the same. It's just the products that are searched for right now and purchased more often will be surfacing on the top. Like we've seen, like in the last 2 weeks, aloe vera become very popular because people start looking for sanitizer, to do-it-yourself sanitizers recipes. So a product that was not very popular in general now is on the top in brand analytics. So, but there are like maybe 10 or 20 products like that right now that surfaced on the top. And it's just a matter of time that they will settle back down to the normal. Yeah,
I was going to say, if we switch gears here, I was going to bring that up. If you look at brand analytics data. It's all over the shop. Now, what do you do if you want to try and prepare for the future? People on lockdown, they're at home, they want to get ready for the future, but the data's everywhere. So using all the tools that we got, as fantastic as they are, how are you able to extrapolate that information and make sensible decisions for something to come up in 2 or 3 months' time, say, Casey?
Yeah, I mean, it's just difficult to know how long this is going to last. If this is, some people are talking about getting the vaccine 18 months from now to the general public, and there being concern of an outbreak happening anywhere between now and 18 months if we break quarantine. These are people like Bill Gates and stuff talking about this. So there's some people that believe this to some degree is going to last a very long time, in which there's significant amount of opportunity to go and start sourcing these products, get them into Amazon or your own fulfillment, and start selling them yourselves. If this is something that's going to last 45 days, then using this data to go and source new products, everybody else will get there at some point too. And so generally, I'm never an advocate of the obvious answer, just because everybody else is doing it, and if everybody else is doing it, it's going to be very competitive. So that I'm rather undecided on.
Yeah, Paul, let's bring you in. Sorry, I kind of left you out the mix. What's your take?
So pretty much right now, I think we're actually in a really good opportunity, because one strategy we've been doing for the past 2 years, and it's never actually failed for us, is that when we are doing rebates and the customer does the whole search find bar, we instruct them to click on the Amazon ad. They don't know they're clicking on the Amazon ad. They think it's organic listing. They don't know the difference, but we make sure we are bidding very, very high to make sure we get the #1 spot for the Amazon ad. So what happens now is the customer goes and purchases through the Amazon ad, and they do a search find bar to get which is fine, right? The customer doesn't know the difference. But what's happened now is that your ACOS for that campaign drops. It's engineered ACOS, but it's an extra data point and relevancy for that keyword. And then if you look at your search and reports, look at all your best converting keywords, you'll as a byproduct of that, those will be your best organically ranked keywords. So this shows that Amazon ads show a big place right now in your keyword relevancy. So I mean, right now, if you're selling non-essential, no one's going to be bidding on Amazon ads or anything. So now you can actually start running through, doing search find bar, doing Amazon ads or Facebook ads to get the search find bar, so on and so forth. The caveat being is that there's a long delivery time. So your your Facebook customers might complain, suck it up, deal with it. It's up to you to absorb that advertising cost for the Facebook ads, because now it's more expensive because long delivery time and people won't take it up. But once you absorb that, and actually now if you get them to purchase through your Amazon ad for that keyword and search find bar, your relevancy goes through the roof. I mean, for us, we've taken products. One of our products right now is top of page 1 for its keyword. It's over $100, the product. And the average price of page 1 product is $20 because all those sales came in through the Amazon ad through search find by. So right now it's actually a good opportunity, because most people have turned off the Amazon ads because there's no need for it. But turn on if you're doing search find by with rebates. And it locks in the relevancy. And then when you have the war chest ready, you can just go 10x on your Amazon ads, 10x on your rebates. Do that for about 2-3 weeks, and you will solidify your place in page 1, spot #1. And even what's nice as well is that campaign will be cheap for the next subsequent weeks, because you kind of fooled Amazon thinking that this is all organic purchases clicking on your ad.
Cool, sounds good. I'm going to say hello to a few people. Artie Kelm's here, Tin is here, Eric Payne. How you doing, guys? Seamus is here, Augustus, Ben Panther. Who else have we got? Howard Ty, we'll have him on tomorrow. Zach Leonard, lots of industry people. Barkus Patty's here, Roger Percy. Who else we got? Steve's there, Stephen Bigham, Katharina. Guys, if you've got any questions, happy to get these answered by the guys here. There's always one, isn't there? Anyone need Amazon verified review and keyword ranking? Fucking hell, it's nothing sacred. Mate, I blocked you. Now fuck off. Right, okay.
Maybe we should have had him on the call.
Maybe should have had him on the call. Yeah, he could have just sold us a load of fucking cheap shit. Yeah. Right, okay. So moving over. I've lost my train of thought there because he's done me. Right. Ivelin, right. Let's go brand analytics. You look under the hood. background, feedback. Brand analytics, you look under the hood quite often there. What are you seeing in terms of how the data's gone crazy, and when can you see it start to normalize and it's more trustworthy to plan forward?
Well, it's all this speculation, right? Can't say what will happen and stuff. Right now, everything is crazy in the brand analytics. As I mentioned, these top keywords appeared everywhere.
Yeah,
people getting crazy about toilet paper and aloe vera, and pasta, stuff that nobody's buying before. So, so I can't really say what will happen. Like it's all over the map.
Yeah,
I'm just waiting for the next 2 weeks. I'm not doing anything, not touching anything, just observing.
Yeah, observing. All right. So just because you're observing, what preparation? I'll go around the room. People sitting at home now, what should they be preparing? Like what things can they be doing, brushing up wise, skill wise, or implementing so they're ready? So when things do tidy up and there is a bit more room to play, what should they be doing in terms of strategies there? So starting with you, Paul.
So best bang for your buck is do a search find buy with rebates. So if they can just spend the next week or two researching the best flows, the best Facebook ads, and even right now, what could be a good idea is that just do engagement ads. Just run an ad to your audiences, seeing who your best audience is, and then warm them up. So once you can actually open the gates, you can just say to them, offers open now, get it now for 50% off, not a full 100% off, whichever.
Yeah. Okay, Tom.
Yeah, I think it depends on where you currently are in your Amazon FBA journey. If you are someone who's already selling on Amazon right now and you have stock at another warehouse or 3PL, I think something that you should be doing today, if it's in the non-essential stuff, is literally getting your listing switched to FBM. I don't have a whole lot of data points. It's just yesterday we switched at 2 p.m. and we saw our sales increasing quite rapidly. So I'm going off of that, and it does make a little bit of sense. If you're someone who is in the product research phase, so if you're literally trying to find your first product on Amazon right now, I feel a little bit bad because even if you look at, I think all the data is just everywhere right now. It's a complete mess. So it's going to make your product research a little bit harder to do. Some of the products that were selling well during the normal times could have a really high BSR now because everything else got pushed down. So it's just, it's a big mess right now, man. And to be honest, like I would probably just brush up on my skills in terms of maybe hopping on sessions like this and understanding what's going on, understanding what people are saying, and then probably just chill for the next 2 weeks. And then when, like kind of what Ivelin said, when the dust settles a little bit, that's probably when you, that's probably when you want to jump back on and get this ball started. So.
Cool. I've got a few questions here. Let me just quickly ask here, apart from any seller need Amazon verified reviews and keyword ranking, we won't answer that question. So here we got here. Do you have any 3PL recommendations?
I think Casey said a good one. Delivery, right? Mm-hmm. Deliver.
Yeah, with 2 R's.
With 2 R's. Yeah.
With 2 R's. I use a company called Ship Fusion. There's also Ship Bob. But I'm not sure if because the integration process is quite long. It's not like, oh, let me use you today. Let's get everything started. There's an account manager. You got to do all the setup and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if they're taking new clients on right now, but it doesn't hurt for you to reach out to them and ask.
Yeah.
Danny, if you don't mind, I saw a question I want to actually ask Tom about because he actually my better opinion, way better opinion than. Yeah. So Tom, the question was, I think it's should they make both FBA and FBM right now? If they do that, hold FBA and FBM, how much cheaper should the FBM price be? And if the FBM price dictates the price of the listing, will the keyword ranking drop because it's not like the FBA?
Yeah, our listing did not drop. So actually it dropped by 1 spot, but yesterday when I looked back up, it actually went back up for our main keyword. So in terms of the ranking between FBA and FBM, we didn't see a noticeably decrease or increase at all. So that's good on that side. And in terms of what we did was we literally switched the FBA listing to a FBM. So we only have one ASIN right now that is FBM. If you want to create a brand new listing and then so if you still want to have your FBA listing, so that's your original listing, but then you want to have another FBM listing, then I think you have to create a brand new ASIN, meaning you have to re-rank that ASIN and get more reviews and so on and so forth, which is pretty counterproductive right now, in my opinion. So we just switched everything over to FBM. So one ASIN, one FBM, and that's it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Cool. Shouldn't it be easier to rank now and stick the ranking as everyone is selling less non-essential products? I think Paul alluded to that. Do you want to run through that again?
So pretty much, what we're seeing right now is even in the non-essential items are holding rank, but it's purely because what they're doing right now is I tell all our customers in our group and stuff is that make sure, guys, please, if you're doing rebates, bid crazy heavy on the Amazon ad. So when the customer clicks an Amazon ad, so the keyword relevancy is sticking, and actually it's staying put even after they stop to turn off the rebates. The re is working well, but now it's down to, again, is that the way rebates are evolving and way Amazon evolves, it's more data points. So not just rebates alone are as good as they were. Now it's kind of like rebates with Amazon ads as well, and maybe even add to carts as well. All those type of issues. As you can do all of those, you will stick.
Okay. If I could just add to that real quick, I would just say, if you are someone that has a bunch of inventory or knows a seller that has a bunch of inventory, whether it's in essential or non-essential products, now is the time to run these ranking promotions, because not very many people have the inventory. Not very many people are selling well in those products. So now you should do it. It's just a matter of, now you can do it. It's just a matter of should you do it.
Cool. Question on the screen. Are you using a super URL for launching? If so, which type? Ivelin.
So here's the rule that we're doing. If you have a product that is beyond page 5, if you do search, find, buy, it's not working very well. And there's a logical reason behind that, is that in Amazon's eyes, it can look unnatural. People skipping 5 pages going through the products and then clicking on a specific product on page 5. So at that point, search, find, buy might not work very well. So the rule is, if your product is on page 1 or page 2, search, find, buy works the best. If not, we're using super URLs for launching, and brand URL specifically has been working pretty well. Pretty much all URLs work the same. The problem with many people report URLs are not working is because there's been a recent change in the URL structure. And a lot of the things, a lot of the URLs that people use are still like old information. But we've tested many different URLs in many different scenarios. They all work pretty much the same if you know how to use them. I think the safest way for people who are not very experienced and technical is just stick to the brand URL. However, there is a big problem with the brand URL is that it will not open on mobile. And we know that a lot of people shop on mobile, over 60% now. So with
the brand, what you're saying with the brand URL, you can't deep link and it redirects to mobile. It goes to the desktop.
Correct.
You've got to sign in, and it just puts more friction in the way.
Correctly. So every URL now that you'll be using has to be a deep link URL, so that makes sure that it will open on a mobile device.
Yep.
Sorry, real quick. I keep adding in. But for those that are not aware of what a deep link is, as Danny said, it's a link that when on mobile will just open up in the ManyChat browser, assuming you're using ManyChat. And the problem with that is that they're not signed in. It looks very unnatural. So we saw much better results when we switched over to using these deep links, which automatically pop open the app. The customer is logged in. It's a very natural experience from the Amazon perspective. Now, so the question is, how do I get these deep links? Pixelfy recently has now given you the option in their URL setup for you to check a box. I think it's automatically checked by default. That will make it a deep link. So you shouldn't be using a straight up 2-step URL that you paste into ManyChat or whatever. You should go use a service that allows for deep linking.
Beautifully put.
Yeah, that's what we're doing too, actually.
Yeah, go on, Anthony. Apologies. Yep, Karen.
We take so in our experience, rank fluctuation seems to occur when we overutilize one particular means, even search, find, buy. And I think just like Ivelin said, it looks unnatural if like 95% of all your sales come through the search bar, since that's not usually how it's going to happen. So how we do it is we mix it up between search, find, buy, and we actually have been using the share URLs. The problem, and then we put those through Pixelfy, so they're deep links. The problem with those, though, is that as Ivelin had said, Amazon's been changing the URL structures. Yeah, they changed those pretty regularly. Like literally within a month, I saw 3 different changes. And on top of that, they're also timestamped. So you have to actually be diligent in going in there and changing them out. But if you do it from your mobile device, there are certain situations where they look supernatural, because you're talking about like using an SMS link. Somebody opens it from their phone. The SMS link was generated by a mobile device, which does actually add to the tag in the URL, et cetera, et cetera. So you set up all these scenarios where it looks really natural, and those have been working super well for us.
I'm with Anthony on that.
Quick correction here. So if you do a share URL, it doesn't matter if you do email share or SMS share or Pinterest share or whatever. It's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same. They just add a reference to that URL, which if Amazon sees that the visitor is coming through that link and they have that reference sent to the server, they know that it's coming from the shared URL. However, you cannot just attach a keyword to that URL. So a lot of people just do they just attach k equals a keyword to a shared URL, but it's a detailed page URL. So this will not count for ranking.
Okay.
I'm not sure why then, but it's been working. I don't know. Maybe we just happen to have a magic touch.
It's giving you a social signal, basically. So if you use other methods of ranking, like if you said, if you mix, for example, different strategies at the same time, all these clicks that come from this URL will count as a social signal. So it will give higher ranking to all of the rest that you're doing.
Okay, that brings us swiftly into another question here. Are there any ranking factors based on traffic sources? So, for example, traffic from Facebook ranking better than Pinterest, etc.
So there's this thing that is called quality that is attached to everything with A9, right? Mm-hmm. Everything has specific quality or weight, as Amazon is calling it. So the quality of the external traffic, of course, matters. As well as even the browser. Like if people coming from a Tor browser, which is usually used for hacking and stuff, you can naturally see that this is not a quality customer. Anthony told before also, he was talking about the quality of the customers also, right? So this weight is attached to everything A9. So yeah, quality of the traffic is very important. If you send someone from DuckDuckGo, for example, advertising to Amazon, it will have very low effect. But if you use Pinterest or YouTube, for example, as a traffic source, the effect will be much higher.
Makes sense. So if that was, for instance, a scoring system, it might be that Facebook has a marker of 5 and then Pinterest could be 7 and YouTube could be 10 and other sources like that is what you're saying. So what you're seeing is that the traffic that's sent there, the Amazon will give that signal more of a priority depending on the type of source that it's coming from. So for instance, with Facebook, it's more like a social traffic, but think about Pinterest, there's an opportunity for the purchase power along with influencers from YouTube, which may give it a high accreditation.
Usually where you have video presentation platforms like YouTube, Pinterest, and Facebook, of course, chances are that you've given much more information about your product and you engage the customer much better than on some other non-video platforms. So this gives more weight to the referral.
Sounds good. Anyone want to add to this before I move on?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of echo. We believe variety is pretty important. So yeah, even if a product's in the top 15 results or so, we won't use like pure search find by. We'll use page one URL. We like to switch it up because I believe Amazon is looking for sameness of traffic. If everybody is doing the exact same thing, that looks unnatural. My one question to Ivelin actually was, you said if a product's in the top 2 pages, then you'll use search find by. The majority of shoppers, well, depending on your traffic source, I guess, are mobile shoppers. So page 2 of the desktop is, up to like 98th result or 96th result or something like that, which could be like page 5 on mobile. So do you pay attention? Like, do you only do page 1 and 2 on mobile, or will you go back to like, say, page 5 then on mobile?
So if shoppers are shopping specific product and category from mobile, we only track from mobile because we've seen that maybe over 75%. So when we use keyword tracking, we don't even keyword track on desktop anymore. We just track from mobile because if you try to rank something from desktop, for example, it will show for the customers on desktop. But if you rank on mobile, so what I mean is that it's not page 5 on desktop doesn't correspond to 95 on mobile. It depends how people shop. You can be on page 3 on mobile, but you can be on page 5 on desktop. That makes sense.
Cool. Excellent. So here from Stefano, how to launch a product which is out of stock. Does it make sense to use H10 data to get the numbers of the rebate? Anthony, you know H10 quite well. Where would you sit with that?
I think he's probably referring to CPR numbers. CPR numbers were invented and created during a time of deep discount promotions, which I think most people would agree based on observations rank differently than full price purchases. So I would say if that's the only number that you have to go off of, you should use it as a baseline, but you need to course correct and figure out what your specific niche is, like what it requires, because I don't think the number is going to be accurate all the time right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, to add to that, we I'm just like taking over. Sorry, guys.
No, you get stuck in. You're welcome.
We see better results when we spread out the promotions. So the old strategy was like 7 to 10 days or something like that. The longer the promotion, the better we see the ranking move up as well as stick. And so a lot of times we're running 14 to 28 day promotions, and we're willing to give away less units on a per day basis for an individual keyword. We see a lot better results that way.
Cool. Anyone want to add?
Yeah, for me, pretty much the same. The sparks don't work anymore. We're looking at least 2-week ranking times. And again, also that varies though because of the age of the product. So if it's to quote Anthony, if it's in the honeymoon period, then it's much easier to rank and hold. Whereas if it's established product, we recommend at least 2 weeks, even longer sometimes, depending on the niche.
Tony Sager asks, should Amazon also suspend new seller applications in the current crisis if current sellers cannot ship goods in? I think with Amazon, maybe my take is business as usual. A lot of people that set up a seller account won't necessarily launch straight away. They'll sign up, and I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I'm sure not everyone. It's like when people do courses, that only a percentage of them will go forward, so it depends on the numbers there. But
so Danny, I just want to add in something there, right? Is that Amazon won't ever stop that, because literally is that over the past month, they literally opened up now applications to be from South Africa to apply to sell on Amazon. Great.
Right.
We've been waiting for this for years. And then the staff haven't been actually trained in how to accept South African paperwork. So literally that it's open to us, but we can't actually get an account. So I mean, like, but they're still charging us monthly fees. But yeah,
that's handy. That's nice. Yeah. That's nice. Okay, Jess says here, I'm launching my first product this week. What launch strategies would be best for me at this time? I'm in the baby category, but non-essential. My competitors are showing 21st of the 4th ship date, and there's a few that say 2 days shipping. I have some units in stock, but most of them are still in the FC transfer, so I'm not active yet. I'd sit tight. What's your take, guys?
For me, minimum, I would say just start up an automatic Amazon ad campaign just to gather the keywords that you think are relative, and then see what Amazon thinks your product really is, and look at the search terms, what they're reporting. If those search terms are correct, aligned with your product, then yeah, Amazon's spot on. They know what your product is. If it's not, then you need to change your keywords, your title, everything, so Amazon knows what your listing should be. And then once you know that, move on and start, if you can, do rebates, start doing aggressive Amazon ads, so on and so forth.
Cool. Anyone else want to pitch in there?
I think it would be a good time for you to just start building up your foundation of your listing in terms of trying to get reviews, and ultimately, you know, even if you rank on page 1 with very little reviews, your conversion rate is not going to be nearly as high as your competitors. So I think just take this time slow. Don't try to be on page 1 in 2 weeks. Really, you know, do what Paul said in terms of doing PPC to see your relevancy, as well as taking the time to try to get some reviews. That way you have a solid foundation so that when things turn back to normal, you're ready to launch.
Anyone want to add? All good. Dr. Yev Mirasenko, we know him in the community, does a lot of great work. He said, check where 3PL warehouses are located. Sales rank is higher and better diversified if they're distributed your product to multiple sites. So I think he's going to go back to the whole thing in and around geo rank. Steve Simon said, Deliver has mixed reviews in his experience, but he's saying Snapshot is another good 3PL to look at. There was an earlier one that I wanted to get back to, which is about ASINs. I can't find, which was done by Ben. Let me just quickly find it, because he was talking about the ASIN but making a different variation. 1 second. Ben, if you're out there, can you repost your explanation for that? Ben Valance, yeah? So he said, no, you need another ASIN for the same, you need another SKU for the same ASIN. Could you explain your take on that, and then we can chew the fat over that. Is there any more people out there who's got any questions that I've missed before we move on? No, cover Jess. Let's have a look. Just going through these here. Stefano, we're covered. Here we go. As of today, no new coupons are allowed through April 5th. Think ads or promotions will be paused or limited to. Anthony, what's your take?
I mean, given the fact that Amazon is attempting to prioritize certain items, it makes sense that they would not allow people to respond to that by creating coupons, attempting to therefore push their offers in front of what Amazon deems a priority right now.
Yeah.
As far as ads, though, like, you know, that's a huge source of their revenue. So I feel like that would be a much bigger decision for them to make. I feel like they probably, you know, would have to think really hard on that one. I mean, Amazon does make emotional decisions at times. We've seen them be very reactionary to things, but I don't know if that's going to be one of them. But promotions will probably continue to fluctuate if the situation gets worse. So that's my take.
You got a view on this?
Yeah. Sorry, did you say my name?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. As of today, no new coupons allowed through April 5th. Do you want to give us your feedback?
I mean, I think kind of what Anthony said is just, it makes sense if Amazon is limiting everything else that basically if it's non-essential, or if it's non-essential, then they're basically limiting as much as, you know, promotions as possible. It's just a very weird, it's a very weird time right now. That's all I'm going to say, man. It's a weird time right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon comes out and do other things in the next upcoming weeks as well, depending on how the situation goes in the US. So I think it's really important to follow what's going on in the US with regards to the COVID-19 cases, and as well as what the government is doing, because that's really going to have a huge impact on all the businesses, not only Amazon, but obviously everything else. But yeah.
Miguel says my listing has been is shipping delivery time for the 1st of May or April 22nd. All my inventory is already in FBA. How do I start FBM if all my inventory is inside of Amazon?
I don't think you can. I think you have to do a removal order and get everything removed to a 3PL and then get the 3PL to do FBM. I don't think there's a way for, if your listings are still in Amazon, I don't think there's a way to do FBM. You got to retrieve everything, which costs you 50 cents per product, I believe.
Yeah, and then they ship it all over the country in shitty boxes that didn't, it didn't go in as it should. It didn't come out as the way it went in. So you've got to repackage everything up as well. Anyone else got any thoughts on that? Ivelin, any hacks?
I'm not sure if multi-channel fulfillment is working because it will be pretty much the same system, right? So
yeah,
maybe they can try. Also, removal will take a while. Sometimes it takes 15 days to receive the removal, so it will be long. So
I'm telling you, I don't think it makes sense. Like, I don't think it makes sense if you have products, if you don't have units available outside of Amazon right now, I don't think it makes sense to do a removal, pay the 50 cents, ship it through a 3PL, set everything up, wait for 2 weeks, and then try to resell because you don't know what's going to happen in 2 weeks. So I don't think it makes sense from that perspective.
Yeah, sometimes it makes sense to sit and wait.
What Ivelin said is possible, though. I don't know if Amazon would look at that as manipulation and shut it down, but it would be something I would try. So create an FBM listing and then just go in and manually create multi-channel fulfillment orders through Amazon. Like, it's manual. That sucks, especially if you get a bunch of orders, but it's
Anthony, I'm doing that right now. Is because I sell a kid's brand, and it's not essential, so I can't really make my traction right now. I'm running Facebook ads to my Shopify store, make the sale on there, and then it's plugged in through ShipStation to Amazon FBA. And then I checked, right now it's like 2 or 3 day delivery times. So right now I'm just pushing Facebook ads to try and sell the units and get some money back right now.
Well, yeah. So you're doing multi-channel fulfillment through Shopify. So that should mean that you could also technically do it on Amazon too, but you would have to manually. You can't automate it
manually.
that way.
And the thing is, I checked. Yeah, and the thing is, like, I don't know how long we'll be able to do multi-channel fulfillment. It could be maybe a few days. Like, so make hay while the sun shines if you can.
Makes sense. Ben Valence posted, you can do this by adding another condition in edit inventory, which I think he was saying is that instead of using 2 ASINs, as what was Tom was saying there, is that use the 1 ASIN, create 2 SKUs, but edit in inventory. I think that's Ben. Can you correct me if that's wrong? While we do that, let's move on to another question here. Do you think MiniChat rebate automation with a 2-step URL to launch for a few weeks until you get to page 2 to 3 and then switch to search, find, buy is still a good launch strategy, or should you launch immediately with search, find, buy directed towards the sponsored products? I mean, timing wise, neither is great, is it? But let's imagine if the timing was okay and Prime's back to normal and the scares passed in the US and UK. What would you guys suggest would be the best of the 2 strategies?
I think for me, I've always used the first approach, which is essentially use a super URL to get the product up to page 2, sometimes page 1, page 2, and then once you're at page 1, page 2, make sure that you switch over to search, find, and buy. But I do want to say that some things have changed since, I would say, even earlier this year, and that's kind of what Casey alluded to earlier, which is essentially switching up the different super URLs, and kind of what Anthony said as well. It makes it seem very weird if 95% of your purchases come from the search bar because people don't search like that. So if you want to go ahead with that strategy, make sure that you trick Amazon by using a lot of different super URLs, add them to the deep link. That works a lot better than just sending 1 super URL for 2 weeks, because you're not going to see that much of a result using that method.
Cool. Anyone else want to add anything?
You can also do search, find, buy with the brand. So like there's some bleed over effect if you rank for brand plus keyword, right, into just the keyword. That's another strategy we've done for like brand new products. because they'll almost always immediately rank page one for like main keyword and then their brand or vice versa. So I would probably just mix up a few of those.
Cool. Fabian says, hey, curious to see if you face this. Launch 2 exact products at the same time, same niche, same price points, same keywords in the listing content and backend, and one of them ranking much better than the other one. Same bids in the PPC campaigns too. If yes, what's the reason for this? Casey?
So I'd be curious if bids and what you deliver for are two different things. I'd be curious if you're delivering for a lot less on the product that is ranking better. We've definitely seen this in PPC where one product is delivering for much cheaper CPCs because Amazon just sees it as a lot more relevant. I'd be very curious how you've tried to push ranking. Maybe there's a quality of customer difference there. I'd want to make sure that your products are in the same subcategory because subcategory is a huge ranking factor right now that not enough people are paying attention to. Overall, I do think that Amazon is paying a lot less attention to the exact content of the listing, and they're paying a lot more attention to subcategory and the way customers are shopping, finding, and buying that product. But outside of that, there's so much in the Amazon ranking algorithm that sometimes we see this. We have two products very similar. One product will do really well. The other product will not do nearly as well, and they're very similar. So I don't know if anybody else has there's Oz's curtain, and we don't get to see everything that's going on behind it, unfortunately.
Okay, he says Fabian's just dropped in here. No ranking, just launch, no reviews too, just testing both.
Yeah, is the branding, is like the packaging. Here's the thing, is we spend so much time paying attention to the way Amazon's algorithm treats everything. But you got to remember, this is all driven by buyer behavior. I've seen literally the exact same bottle of Garcinia Cambogia, right? Hundreds of them, same serving size. It's the same product. The listings are all geared towards the same keywords, but several of them fail miserably and one does really, really well. Why does that happen? It was because the label looked nicer,
Also, it could be completely random behavior. Mm-hmm. Imagine that your inventory is in California, and that same day, 5 people from California bought the product. So the inventory is close to the customer. This ranked these keywords higher, while on the next day, keywords on the other products were coming from New York. So it will give you that initial start on that product, and then it sustains ranking based on that specific location.
And also time's going to factor as well. How long have you been testing it? Been running? If you just launched, was it been a week? Like I'd say look at the data over the month to see the performance as well, because you should never look at data over a week anyway, should you? You've got to reach a statistical significance at some point. So you need to benchmark your test properly. You need to be very tailored and detailed on what you're doing. And like the guy said, or Anthony said, is that you got a different label, better packaging, etc. Like Ivelin said, if you're looking at the distribution to the facility centers could be mapped differently. You could send the products in at different time, but when they're available, when they're not available. So there's a lot of things at play that could make a difference. So you should document everything there.
Sorry, real quick. My advice would just be that, there's a lot of kind of stuff that we don't know what stuff entails exactly happening. The more you actually go and are intentional and kind of control the rankings or running promotions or whatever, then you should be able to move those up.
Yeah. Scarlett says, since many listings are switching to FBM, is FBM purchase as strong as FBA purchases for keyword ranking? You go first, Ivelin.
No, it's not, for many reasons. Maybe there are like 5-6 reasons that FBM is lower in the ranking. But again, there is no, it will be all equalized at some point because there will be many sellers selling FBM right now. So nothing to do about it.
Okay.
Also, if someone isn't selling, but they have FBA listings, it's not going to be as good as someone that's selling a lot, even if it's FBM.
Yeah.
Anthony?
No,
you're all in on that.
The sentiment's already been expressed. Like we know thanks to, I mean, we knew this before, but we know even more now thanks to Dr. Yev and his work with studying GeoRank that location is, availability is a huge factor. And FBA, because it gives customers Prime, will always be preferred, because Amazon can control it. They know, like, I can put this in front of you. You're, 30 miles away. I can make sure that you're going to get it on the time that I'm saying. They have so much less control with FBM. But like Casey just said, it'll equalize because that control also leads to limitations that currently Amazon is imposing.
Right. Gabrielle says, how many long tails will you rank to impact the main keywords at the same time during a ranking campaign? I think what he means here is you've got your head search term and then the variants underneath, maybe, Gabrielle, or are these a separate set of search terms but with lower velocity? Casey, do you want to pick this one apart?
I mean, typically we haven't seen, so I was saying sameness of traffic is important. We haven't seen at least a difference in ranking. So let's say one product is going after one keyword versus a single product going after multiple keywords. We haven't seen better performance when we go after multiple keywords. It sounds like maybe Anthony had, so maybe he'd be better to answer the question. We've done well just ranking for a single term.
Cool. Anthony?
I apologize. I don't know that I fully understand this question.
Okay, so there's 2 points to this question, I think, or there's one main point, but I'm just trying to decipher, is whether he's talking about he's got a main search term and there's the variants of that main term underneath, could be, I don't know, spatula blue, spatula red, etc., rather than a wooden or metal spatula, right? So it's either, his question is, do you use the rising tides effect of long tail search terms across the board related to the product, or related to the main search head search keyword, and then the variants of that underneath? So he's saying, what do you do at that time for the ranking of the campaign? How many of these keywords would you use?
Okay, so if I'm focused on a specific main keyword, usually I'll only pick one long tail to hit until the main keyword is in an attainable distance. I understand the logic behind choosing multiple long tails that have that one keyword in it, and maybe multiple rising tides. We're not completely sure that that's the case. It's definitely worth testing, but I will say that if you do reverse ASINs on all of your biggest competitors, you'll notice that they rank for thousands and thousands usually of keywords on page one, most of them long tail. So at the end of the day, ranking for many long tails, regardless of its effect on your main keyword, might also be a good strategy. I mean, at very least, that's what the biggest sellers are currently taking advantage of.
Yeah, and not path correct, but I think what he's talking about really is what goes on in the US. I mean, if you try and express long tail from US to Europe, UK, there isn't much depth to the market in comparison because of the size of the market and the variance of the search volume of the main keywords and the long tail. So it might work better in the US, but there you're a little bit limited in the UK and stuff. A good place to start really, outside of just like the main tools, is look at your brand analytics reports. It won't be as good on super niche products, but a lot of the brand analytics search terms you'll find in there, the ones that are not in there will generally give you maybe 10, 15 searches a day. So bear that in mind as well. It's nice to have a good collection of long tail, which is absolutely fantastic, but don't always hang your hat on it if you're looking velocity of sales. Travel category is dead right now. No shit, Sherlock. That's Alfred saying there. I know, because I've got a product in there as well. So PPC wise, the pulls are not to pulls, to lower budget or not to lower budget, clicks but no sales. Anthony, I know you love PPC. I'll pick on you for this one.
I mean, I'm all about PPC off of Amazon. So, all right.
What about you, Tom?
We're running a bunch actually, of stuff, hands off.
Yeah, Tom, and then we'll go to Casey because I know he's got PPC chops as well.
Yeah, I'm not qualified to answer any PPC questions. I suck at it.
Okay, I'll answer some in a minute, but Casey, you got it.
Well, I guess I have a question for the group. So I think one train of thought would be, so we talk a lot about sales history. So anything you can do to, boost up your sales history right now, even though you're not selling that well, once sales start coming back to that category, you will have better sales history than those people that turned it off that were trying to save money. So it's kind of like short-term hit for long-term advantage. I don't know what the thought is. I don't know if that's the right answer, but
I'll give you a theory, right? If you've got clicks and you've got no sales, right? If put in perspective, the correlation between ranking with PPC 2015 to now, the trajectory's changed a lot, right? A lot of people would argue, and I'd argue the same as well, conversion rate matters. So if you're running PPC, okay, and you're not getting any conversions, that could have a knock-on effect. So while you're running those to keep and maintain at the top, you might be doing yourself a disservice organically and spending money. So 1, test it, look at your conversion rates. 2, maybe run your PPC, because I've seen a correlation where just turning PPC on, you just get a little shift as well. It's like it's a knock-on effect. I don't know if Ivelin, you've seen that. But maybe, lower your bids, but make sure that you're able to reach the auction. There's no point bringing your bids right down because it's going to be a pointless exercise. Leave your budget where it is. There's no necessary justification to reduce the budget at this stage, but just monitor it and make sure that you're working towards your target ACOS as well. What else we got here questions-wise? Ahmed, we're doing heavy search, find, buy in the initial launch. Our product does not show up for all ranked keywords for a few hours and then start showing again. Why is this happening? Ivelin.
Well, we're missing a lot of information here to answer, but it's important how you track the keywords and from where. So I can't really answer why is this happening. It's most probably the tracking tool that he's using.
Right. Okay. So if we want to follow up on that question, give us a bit more of a description of what you're doing there. What else have we got here? Should you focus on relativity of keyword before you choose his route? If you choose long tail keywords, you should better start with main keyword and try to find the root in it. I'm not sure if I understand this question. This all depends on how good index your product is before you're starting to confuse Amazon. So I think what you're talking about is relevancy there. And I'm not sure what the root means here. But if you can re-explain that question, we're happy to ask. So Ahmed's gone back to say we track all of this manually, Ivelin. So going back to the indexing properties.
What was the question? So
let me pull up his question.
And then it disappears.
Yeah, there we go. So we're doing heavy search, find, buy for initial launch. Our product does not show up for the ranked keywords for a few hours and then start showing again. So obviously they're coming back and forth into play here. Why is this happening?
Well, I haven't seen that happening, so I can't answer. One possible reason is if you add your own product to cart, you will not be able to see it in the results sometimes. So there's many things that can happen that,
Yeah, and if you're looking from the same resources as well, you might go on desktop, you might do it on mobile, you might be logged in, you may not be logged in. Are you looking in a territory where for instance, you've not put in the local postcode for postal address? Like say you're in the UK and you're looking on the US, that can play a part in it as well. So obviously
to answer that, this is not something typical. It's not the problem that appears somehow. It's something related to your specific situation.
So just one thing I want to add there is that if he's doing heavy search, find, buy, and if what I've seen a lot is that when we're just doing heavy search, find, buy, Amazon doesn't know what to do with the keyword, and then we're seeing a drop in the keyword ranking. He may be experiencing that. Again, we don't know what's going on out there. There's not enough information on that. But also, if checking manually, one thing I'm doing right now, because I don't really trust one tool for keyword tracking, so I'm just using Helium 10 and then cross-referencing that with AMZ Jet from Yev. That's what I'm doing right now. Evelyn, I don't actually know about your ranking tools. I need to talk to you about that because I think yours might actually be a good fit as well. And talk to you about that, yeah.
Cool. Is there any more questions out there, guys, before we go? For tracking, Ahmed said we use Chrome incognito mode. Okay. We're coming up to an hour and 10 minutes. Hopefully everyone's been enjoying this. If there's any more questions, let us know. Quickly say hi to a few people. Jason said, these calls are getting better. Very grateful. Thank you. It's not me, it's these guys. Fabian says, thanks, guys. You rock. What else have we got? Questions here. What would you suggest for new sellers who are planning to launch their product? Should it be the right time to launch a new product? We've covered that. We'll talk about delay and we'll wait for a better time. What else have we got here? Just have a look. Does anyone want to add anything while I'm looking through the questions here, rather than leaving me with an awkward silence? Come on, Paul, do us a joke or something while I'm having a little look through.
Yeah, a joke. Nice try. Nothing.
All right, so let's do a bit of predicting the future then. So what is you guys, we'll go around the room quickly. What is your take on, and we'll focus on UK and US, yeah, of what is your take on when this is going to, the virus you see clearing? Are you bullish on this, and then we're going to have a good Q4, or are we going to see a return? Starting with Tom, what's your observations at the moment?
Jeez.
No pressure, mate. Yeah.
Man, it's tough. This is unprecedented. I mean, I think this is, yeah, it's weird. It's just a weird time for everybody to be alive right now, and I think that it's definitely gonna. First of all, I think in the short term, it's definitely gonna get a lot worse before it gets better. If you just look at the stats, especially what's going on in the U.S. Yesterday had 10,000 cases. Today, I think it's gonna probably be more than that. What I'm looking out for right now is essentially how are the U.S. going to have mass testing available for all citizens? If they don't have that, I really can't see the cases getting better. But if they do start rolling that out, such as similarly to what they've done in South Korea, being a very good example, setting up phone booth where people can go in, do the swab after 7 minutes to get tested. Yeah, I can't see things getting, and especially with the States right now as well. People are loading up with guns. I mean, what the hell is that about? I mean, we know what's that like.
They're getting ready to go looting, aren't they?
I mean, that's really weird. Like, people are just buying a lot of guns and stuff. And
what Americans do.
Yeah, I mean, so are people gonna start being rebellious against the government? Maybe not. But hopefully, I think the best case scenario is for us to have a pretty decent Q4. The worst case scenario is this year. Just call it a, we'll see everybody in 2021. So
yeah, Paul.
I guess for me, the main thing too is we've spoken a lot about ranking and launching and relaunching right now, but very few Amazon sellers properly budget for a launch. I know that sounds ridiculous. That's Amazon 101, but the amount of people I've seen do rebates and automate the whole thing and then literally go bankrupt overnight and don't actually realize it. So please, before you're thinking of doing any type of relaunching or launching, whichever, just actually please put in a spreadsheet, a little budget, how much each rebate will cost you, how much aggressive and passive Amazon ads will be, so on and so forth. Really have a big thing there and saying, okay, now the budget, how long can I last for? Because we don't know how long to last. So before anyone charges anything, figure out how long you can keep your skin in the game.
Yeah.
Casey, what do you think? Are you bullish on this, the virus clearing up? If you take a look at the data from, say, China, I know it's more of a nanny state. I know in the Americans and the guys in the UK, we don't like to take orders off people, do we? So we have to expect it's going to take a bit longer. But are you bullish on a good Q4 coming up?
I'm a little bearish on how the virus will kind of clear up in the US. Again, I don't know. I know there's people kind of adamant on each side of the fence. My overall take is that change brings opportunity. There's a lot of change here. If you think about how much people are being forced to shop online, I think it's training people that otherwise weren't shopping via e-commerce and they're shopping more retail that will be shopping on e-commerce. And again, I mentioned Walmart and these other channels that people are looking to get faster shipping by. I think things, no matter what, will be different on the other side of this. and trying to really understand what that difference is going to really set you up for success. And again, there's a lot of change, and trying to understand what is going to happen on the other side is really going to bring a lot of entrepreneurs a lot of opportunity.
Yeah. Ivelin, what's your take?
Yeah, based on what governments are doing, I think that, this will take for a while. Like schools in Canada are closed till the end of May, for example. After May, just 1 month, and then the school year is over. So it's basically, we're looking for next year already. I'm optimistic about Q4 somehow. I think that things will get better by Q4, so people should be ready, I think. Like personally, I'm going to ship some inventory to a third-party warehouse, just ready for a launch when things starting to get better and stuff. But you never know how this will turn out. A lot of people say that when summer is here, things will start getting better already. So yeah, we have to be prepared for it. There will be for sure a lot of change. And I see a lot of families already homeschooling, online schooling, and even if everything is over, I think the fear will still last for a few months after, which will affect the whole online space. So we have to be ready for that change.
Yeah.
I just want to add one more thing. I think that's why it's so important that during the good times, aka the last month, or even from 2008 until now, that's the time that you need to prepare for an event like this. Because there's going to be another event in 5 or 10 years that's going to drastically change the landscape of e-commerce or business or anything similar to what this COVID-19 has done to us. So I think if there's one big takeaway that I personally got from this experience, I mean, 2008, I was like 16, I was in high school, so it doesn't affect me at all. But this has really, really impacted all my businesses, is that when the good times come back again, do not take that time for granted. Like, work your ass off, because you can save, it's for a rainy day, so that when the next time comes, you're well prepared.
I remember, Tom, I wasn't in school. I'm a tiny bit older than you. I remember 2008. I spent a year, 14 months launching a startup in stealth mode, only to serve advertising as its main revenue right in the recession. So that went down really well. So a bit of planning moving forward in terms of your business models is always a good look. Tiffany, right. So what is tomorrow's topic? Tomorrow we're going to have Howard tie on. We're talking black hat and how to protect your neck. Anthony's knows Howard well. They work together on stuff. Anthony might jump in with us as well tomorrow if he's available. Oxy said, thank you guys. Oxy, I'll see you Friday for Drink Champs. Lawrence has asked, anyone on the opinion of will there be a bias or a backlash against products made in China? Good question. Casey.
Not sure. I definitely am an advocate. I mean, you see Apple, for example, moving a significant amount of their production over to Taiwan. And I think diversifying your supply chain could pay dividends. I mean, tariffs are still kind of up in the air. I think a big deciding factor will be how the next election goes and who our next president is. But I think that, at least, from what I'm seeing, enough people are concerned or have seen issues having this one manufacturer in China. And, labor is a lot cheaper in some of these countries like Vietnam already. And so I think it's at least worth looking into.
Tom, backlash or bias, what do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think, I don't think there's going to be any sort of backlash or any negativity across for products made in China. They are the manufacturer and the factory for planet Earth. Let's call it that. So I think things are going to continue to go on as they are. And I don't think there's going to be any sort of negative backlash or anything.
Yeah, I think the other thing you've got to look at is not all customers on Amazon are price sensitive, but could you imagine that, the backlash suddenly stops when someone sees that the prices of the same product or very similar product without differentiation is 20, 30, maybe 40% higher. Maybe the backlash will be reduced. They're more likely, if they're price sensitive, to go to that product. So I agree with you guys there. Okay, so I think we'll wrap there. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Feedback in the comments has been wonderful. Want a big shout out to all the groups that we've posted in today. Thank you for sharing all your knowledge, guys. I know it's a rough time out there, guys, but like, you just got to be positive, have a good mindset. We'll get through this together. I just want to let everyone know how to reach Paul. What's the best way of reaching you if they've got any questions?
The best thing is probably just message me or go through the chatbot, our Facebook page, or even the website.
Cool. And Tom, for you?
I guess YouTube, Tom Wang, or Instagram.
Tom's like, don't contact me. What?
Casey, what's the best way to reach you?
Yep, either message me here on Facebook or on my personal Instagram, just Casey Gauss.
Excellent. Evelyn,
you guys
and for
Casey's
you?
phone number here, 517. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
And in terms of education, guys, give all your groups a shout out, please, because there are people listening across the other groups. I want to make sure they go in and consume your content. It's free. Evelyn, you got the Orange Hat group. Casey, Data Hunters. Paul, Seller Chatbot. Can you remind me, Anthony, of the new group that you got?
Signalytics.
Signalytics. Yep, cool. And who have I missed?
Just follow me on Facebook. Just type my name in, and that's good enough. Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. How do they reach you, Anthony?
Pretty much any social media platform at Anthony Lee 991.
Yeah, but check him out on TikTok. You're doing a lot of video content now, aren't you? If you like it high speed, like you're on drugs, drinking lots of alcohol, but with really shit information, check him out. He's super fast, but he's really, really good. Again, guys, thank you so much today. Audience, thank you for joining us. I'm going to end the broadcast now. I'll see you back here 4:00 tomorrow. Howard Ty in the hot seat. We're going to pick him apart and ask him questions about how to protect your net with Black Hat. He's going to be gracefully giving up his time. So I'll see you all again tomorrow, and thank you guys for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Help.
Cheers.